What is up? We are here for our weekly energy oracle forecast. Let's see what we've got going on for the week ahead. Ooh, very exciting. Life. The violet is coming up out of like this pelvic bone. The pelvic bone is associated with the sacral chakra, which is also associated with the Sphirot of Yesod, the storehouse of all the blessings, the mixture that's like in the bubble gum machine, waiting to be delivered in material form. So that is the same place where you would say hold a baby and gestate life and give birth to new life. Well, violets are, I would wager they're associated with Venus, probably, and I would imagine water, but they're very magical. And supposedly, I think it's probably in February, because I think that's when they start blooming, but the first violet you see of the season, you should pick it because it's going to be very lucky, very potent for you. It's going to give you a lot of that magical violet power. So I think it's about picking our opportunities and taking advantage of luck where timing meets preparedness, and being ready to act on things that we have been, like seeds we've been planting in our imagination and our goals and our thoughts, and things that we've been beginning to do to put that ball into motion. Right. So very magical, very, a lot of possibility, a lot of potential. This week is the grand finale of the counting of the Omer, where we are arriving here at this moment at Mount Sinai, where God is going to come and give us the Torah. The Torah was given at night because night is a metaphor for times in our life where we don't understand why things are being withheld. Things are not going as planned. Things are unclear. They're uncertain, and they're, it's distressful. We can't see, very far ahead, right? We lack greater perspective. The light, daytime, is when everything's going well and easy. So you can add that layer of understanding when you're reading, scripture. When they're talking about day and night, they're not just talking about what time it happened. It's like a metaphorical representation of periods of our life, right? The desert being another metaphor for the landscape of the situation of the phase of life we're being brought through, right? A place of challenge, very little fertility, very little growth, very little vitality. There's not a lot of vegetation, not a lot of richness and abundance. Not a lot of water, not a lot of things to quench and grow and nourish and nurture ourselves. Like, things are skim, things are tight, things are uncertain. And so, but it's in those places and in those times, the most difficult, the most uncertain, that we have the miracle becomes revealed, because there is this desire and a necessity and an urgency and a focus and a fire and an intensity that comes from that catalyst. So there's a kavod, right? Kavod is like a Hebrew word that is talking about like something it's got like holiness and sacredness and reverence. It's got weight. It's got seriousness to it. So new life coming through this week when we arrive at Shavuot, which is Thursday. The celebration, the observation is to stay up all night and not sleep and connect with the Torah. So fortunately that falls on my days off, and it's on Thursday, so this is great. So the opportunity is to see where the adversary antagonizes your different 5 forms of ego, which are, let me grab my list. All right. Okay, so judgment, anger, control, pride, physical lust. And then physical lust can be a variety of things. It doesn't have to be just like focused on like sexual desires, but it can be just like lusts after physical comforts and things like that. So something that's out of control that controls you rather than you controlling it. Dependencies, addictions, impulsive behaviors, anything like that. So watch what comes up this week and how it, so when you get triggered, pretend that's like the smoke alarm going off in your house, and like look at the situation, what's happening in this moment. How do I feel? What is the seeming source of this feeling, and what is the normal pattern? How does it usually play out? And why? Why does it play out like that? What is the inclination? What is the thought process? This is when we get to see these things so that we can handle them and dismantle them. So this is when we interrupt and disrupt the former pattern and then rewrite a new pattern, a new mindset, a new belief system. But when we can overcome like these parts of our nature, then we become the master over these parts of our nature. So this week is the grand finale of 49 days of going through these challenges that have showed us all these like open parts of ourselves. Like when Jacob wrestled the angel was like an adversary, like a negative adversary. And the angel couldn't find a weak point by which to take Jacob. And so he grabbed him by the hollow or the sinew of his thigh. So that's like that whole idea of like sin is always crouching at the door looking for an opening, right? When you can see these things sprouting up, these are the openings, and this is what we're looking to close. And it's going to enhance our ability to trust our intuition and discern between what is judgment and what is intuition. And that is basically the collective confusion that we've been experiencing since the time of Adam. When Adam and Eve were in a state of their light body and they resided in the realm of Yesod, which is down here, what we were talking about earlier, it was like this place that was a realm or a dimension of everything that Earth looks like, but it was like made of just light. Like, you know how like atoms are mostly light, and they're the particles of an atom are like spaced with like light years of distance when you like consider the scale. And so it's like we're hardly anything material, right? And so we're barely even solid. So when we go up into this other dimension of light, it's like we have this projection of an image, but there's no physical lack or need. So therefore, when they were in the garden, if they came upon something that was a threat or dangerous or toxic or like a plant they shouldn't eat or an animal that they shouldn't approach, like they knew it. It wasn't confusing. There was no like fogginess or haziness about it. They just instinctually were like 100% clear. But after the fall, what happened was that the ego, there was a veil drawn, which caused the forgetfulness, and it separated us from the fullness of that understanding, and it created things like confusion. Oh, I'm having a hard time discerning this from that, right? And that is the part of the journey, is to fine tune that muscle. That's what we're here doing. That's the assignment, right? So last days, final days on the Shavuot coming up, liquidation, ego liquidation, everything must go. Maximum miracles to be revealed. Ooh, and feel, allow yourself to sit with the feeling rather than the reflexive like inclination that follows. Like, don't try to anesthetize the inclination. Let yourself feel what it is so you can see it. And then like, what is the usual pattern then that you fall into? Is it passivity? Is it, going along with like an enmeshed, pattern, or like what is the ancient record that gets stuck in that locked groove that keeps playing over that same part, right? So in order to really see this fully, we've got to feel it, right? And in order to digest that feeling and that event or that situation, whatever the stored trauma is, it's like if we're avoiding the feelings and it's still lurking in our system. The only way to purge all of those feelings from like the distant past that are still lurking in our system, like residue, is to feel those feelings. It's like spiritual exercise, right? When you go out on a run, you're feeling the work that you're doing, like the labor that your body's pushing against, but you feel that that light burning off, like the solid. You can feel the heat transforming your body. You can feel like the chemistry running through your systems and purging things through your sweat, right? It's like the body's way of digesting the endocrine system and the fat, right? So too are our feelings a way of digesting emotion and trauma, as long as we don't cling to them, in a way that gets us stuck and dwelling and caught in like never being able to move forward. Like we need to visit those things in a constructive way with intention, right? And depending on what you're working through, you might want to do it with a professional person who knows how to take you through something that has like supervision or a formal structure to help support you or guide you. But if you're able to like deal with things like on like a pretty average level, like you can work on it yourself, then feel the feelings, try not to get stuck there, but let them move through for the purpose of like giving it your all and then just letting it go, letting it be processed. I remember my late best friend Trace, like I was really like upset over this dude for a long time. He just haunted me. I could not get over the idea that we weren't compatible. I didn't see like the truth about, who he was or the situation. It took me a while to have hindsight, but long story short, I was like so hung up on him and upset about him. And I had this like illusion that like, oh, he, I've missed something. Like I didn't realize, like, obviously it wasn't meant for me if it wasn't right, and, if it wasn't working out, then obviously it's just like, let it go. So, anyway, he said something that really was so effective. He was like, Trix, how long is it going to take for you to cry this guy out? Like if you gave yourself a time limit, but you were really fully like full throttle, like wallowing in it, and you just sobbed and you just like let yourself go to the sorrows. He was like, how long do you think it would take you to like get this guy out of your system? And I was like, I don't know, like a maximum like 2.5 days, maybe 3. And he's like, then just do it. And then it was like, once I had that permission, it was like, I was like, oh, I don't really think I need to do that. It was like, I don't know, it all put it into perspective for me. But the feeling, I did to kind of lean into the feeling, but I think I realized, oh, I'm not really feeling the feeling fully. And therefore I'm lingering in it too long. I'm like dancing with the dead body. So just facing it and feeling it and letting it process and not clinging, but allowing it to be digested. I like to think of it that way, because in digestion, you're taking what's valuable and integrating it, but you're letting go of what is, just the vehicle that it needed to come in, right? Is it about the salsa or the chip, All right, well, that is all for tonight. If you are like, oh, wow, Shavuot, I want to observe Shavuot and stay up all night, go, to the Kabbalah Center. And I'm not sure if like usually on the holidays they have like a little like a pay what you can for people that have an email like account with them. I have a paid membership, so I'm not sure what the deal is anymore. They've changed some of the stuff around. But they will have like a broadcast of like Torah reading and that whole thing going on probably the whole night. So I'll probably tune into that, or I should, it's like they said that's the most important day of the year, because if you can stay up all night, the Zohar says, on Shavuot, then you like have protection that you won't experience death at least until the end of the year. It gives you like the get out of jail free card until the end of the year. You're like guaranteed survival. Shabbat. All right, y'all, that's all for tonight. See you.